Okay. Got so tense in here after that. Okay.
I always
ready?
get nervous when you do that. Yeah, I'm ready.
Ready?
By the way.
Yep.
Brendan, your
I'm
first
ready.
podcast ever?
This is exciting.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Strength Students podcast. I'm Steve Carty.
I'm your other co-host, Nick Scopoletti.
And I'm the co-host, too.
You forgot to say that.
We're here with Brandon Buchla. Dr. Brandon Buchla?
Doctor.
Wow. That's hot, yo.
Thank you.
First doctor we've had in our show, I think. Right?
Yeah, fuck. Congrats.
Sweet.
Wow.
Dr. Lerv. So we're here talking to Brandon today. He is a chiropractor. How long have you been a chiropractor?
Under a year. I just graduated in December, so.
Oh, my
really,
God.
really
Under a
new.
year.
Yeah.
So you have
Brand
no
new.
idea what the fuck you're talking about. Just kidding.
Yeah,
That's
that-
why we had you on, because you know yo shit. So give us a little about you, Brendan. Like, how did you get started in chiropractic, and what specifically do you do in chiropractic?
Oh, yeah. So I got into chiropractic. Let's see. Well, my dad's a chiro, so I always grew up kind of having that idea of a doctor as being a chiropractor.
Oh, in the family.
Yeah. And
Gotcha.
I've always been into sports. I mean, high school, football, track.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even at Fordham University, I ran track for a little bit, competed in sports, and I kind of wanted a profession where I would incorporate that, and chiropractic just kind of fit. I mean, I always saw my dad. I mean, he was a semi-professional football player, so I just assumed doctor, sports, this is the profession for me.
Right.
And so I went to National University of Health Sciences down in Illinois, and that's what I did.
Oh,
I
damn.
completed that, and then I got an additional certification in acupuncture, dry needling. Got my CSCS, CFL1.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I was a CrossFit
You have your level
coach
one?
down in Illinois for a year.
Oh, no
Yeah,
shit.
final round CrossFit.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you have your CSCS.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Dude,
and you do
got it
all. You do all, like you said, like acupuncture,
Yep. Dry
cupping,
needling,
all that.
cupping.
Okay. So
Oh,
why
yeah.
is that? Why is that such a big part of what you do?
I think it's important. I mean, a lot of people see chiropractic as, I don't know, I'm going into a different segment, but a lot of people see it as like just adjust and you're out. But there's so much things we can do. We can do Graston, soft tissue cupping, pin and stretch.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, all these other modalities that are often overlooked by a lot of people,
Right.
but are just as important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So go into kind of like your specific background a little more, like specifically hands-on work. Like, what kind of experience did you have with that? Like, as a coach, I know you mentioned you were a CrossFit coach. Talk about your experience as a coach, as
College
a
athlete,
college
all
athlete,
that
as a
stuff.
student of chiropractic. What kind of stuff you did there?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll
You can start
back
from
in
like high school, yeah.
Yeah, high school, I mean, I was a sprinter. I was a part of a 4x1 that went all state and all New England. So
Hell
it was
yeah.
great. And then at Fordham.
What high school was that?
Massic.
Yeah.
Dope.
And at Fordham, I competed in powerlifting. And then let's see, what else? I competed in Olympic lifting.
No shit.
I tried to just compete in everything pretty much.
Dude,
and
tell-
everything fast twitchy.
Right. We were talking offset before. Like, tell them your numbers. Let's go bench, squat, dead, and then tell your clean and jerk and snatch.
So
numbers.
max deadlift I ever hit was 515.
Nice.
Max squat was 425. Max bench was 305
at 165.
Yeah,
for real. That's big.
The
man.
clean and jerk was 305. And then
Nice.
snatch was 245.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, they were
That's
good
a
lifts.
lot for that body weight, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
It was fun.
Dude's fast
Um,
twitch as fuck.
Yeah, for real.
In terms of experience, I mean, I got my AFAA. It was a personal trainer certification back in college. And from then, I mean, I started, training people here and there, kind of building myself as a trainer. And as a CrossFit coach, I mean, I was under Rob Struby. Shout out to Rob. He's the man. Awesome guy, regional level athlete. And he really helped me grow as a coach, as an athlete, in terms of like thinking differently, incorporating myself, using what I've learned from school into that field. And I thought that was really, really helpful. And then obviously you learn so much in school, and a lot of it's so overwhelming, but the ability to apply it right away really helps, like solidify all the ideas.
So what you learned in school helped a lot, like afterwards.
Definitely. Yeah. And a lot, if I wasn't a coach, a lot of that stuff would have just been forgotten. You have to apply that stuff right away constantly and just really engrave it.
Yeah, they always say, like, you've heard people talk about, like, going to see a PT or a chiro. It's like, does your chiro lift? Does your PT lift? Or, like, play a sport or something, that usually helps
Oh, definitely.
with, athletes next level, especially when you use them when they come in as patients. Like, it's a huge deal.
Because, I mean, those people who've never lifted before, they learn this thing, like the bench press. They're like, oh, my gosh, I need to show all my patients the bench press. And people who lift are like, dude, I've been benching since I was like 8.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to do was bench 1,000 pounds.
So it has that advantage of coming from a sports background. Like, the new things are really new. And
Yeah.
you'll be able to show, like, new stuff to people,
Right.
Word. So what's new?
There's so many things.
We won't get into that yet. What do we got there in the sheet?
I wanted to go into that. So give a little, and you touched on this before. I I think you said kind of like a negative association with chiropractic.
Yeah.
I would say maybe not a negative association with chiropractic, but I don't think people understand the full scope of what a chiropractor does and what the chiropractic practice does. So why don't you go into that?
And that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So
learn about chiropractors.
A lot of those stigmas, I feel, fall from the early years of the profession. And it's important to understand that profession has evolved a lot since then. Some people think of chiros as all they do is adjust. You know, you rack and crack. They come in, you adjust, you leave.
I got to go get an adjustment. I got to get my back
and
cracked.
that's it. And that's not all a chiro does. I mean, I don't adjust all my patients. I know a lot of chiros who don't adjust all of their patients. It's one modality. Maybe you cup one patient, adjust another, just do soft tissue on another. There's so many different things. And I think it's important to know that we offer more than just adjusting. You know, there's cupping, there's Graston, there's pin and stretch, things I was talking about earlier. There's rehabilitation. We're great with rehabilitation.
So then what makes you different than a physical therapist then? Because all of that sounds like physical therapy. So what makes a chiropractor...
They're very, very similar.
Yeah. So then what are the similarities and differences between chiro and PT?
I don't want to cross any lines.
We're about to cross some fucking
fantastic
lines.
Professions. I think they go really, really hand in hand.
Yo, cross that line, dude. Cross that line.
I'm trying to think.
Cross it.
Well, I mean, chiros specialize in adjusting. You know, we have that adjusting. That's our bread and butter. And then from there, we kind of go into rehab and stuff. PTs have their bread and butter, which might be post-surgical rehabilitation. They have something that they are just
usually
that's their jam.
Right.
You know, that's what they do day in, day out. Chiros are adjustment. PTs, it might be that. You know, and then, I mean, I know we could diagnose. I don't know if PTs can. I think they can.
Yeah, PTs can.
PTs can, yeah. PTAs cannot, but PTs can.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pretty similar, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
they are.
When you think about it, though, you know what's funny is that Steve and I both were on the track to go back to school, and that was, I thought about chiro, we were thinking about PA, PT, and I remember saying to people, I think chiro, or maybe I wrote PT, and they're like, oh, physical therapist, way better. And I'm like, dude, how do you know? What's the difference? B, they're like, oh, chiro's, no, it's just a chiropractor. It's, and we've talked about this before, where it's kind of people look at it like this hokey, because there are one part of chiropractic, which is applied kinesiology, which is a whole different, hold a nutrient, muscle test you to see if you, do that nutrient. And I think it's worked for certain people. I mean, I've done it. It's not, but there's some stuff where it's you need blood work, I think, science is science. And it's,
and there's always those parts of the field that are kind of controversial.
Right.
But
yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, so that's one stigma. I mean, all we do is rack and adjust. Another one is it's dangerous. People say, oh, you're going to get a stroke. But I mean, there's tons of studies that show,
Wait, what do you mean?
So people say that by the rotational adjustments, you can sever the vertebral artery, and because of that, you'll develop a stroke. So there was one woman on the news who, I forgot, it was some model, but she ended up having a stroke, and she said it was after a chiropractic adjustment.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but there's tons of studies that show that. I think the main one is by Cassidy et al. It was published in Spine, and it said that you're no more likely to suffer a stroke from a chiropractic visit than you are any other primary care physician.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it brushing your hair.
How common is that in
it's extremely
chiropractic? Rare. It's you could fucking get in a car accident and die in your car, but it's no one's oh, don't ever drive ever drive a car again.
Don't get on a plane.
Yeah, you take too many Advils, you're going to be shitting out blood soon.
Right.
But no one talks about that.
That's interesting. Okay. So who do you see mainly? Are you athletes? Are you average Joes? Are you everybody?
Now it's mostly athletes. I'm really into disc patients, stenosis patients. I mean, I have the F&D table, so I really want to get into that and really into pain management. I mean, I think dry needling and acupuncture kind of goes really, really well with that avenue. So that's my goal, but right now it's definitely athletes.
Okay. And that's where you want to stay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I like
Why?
that, and I like pain management. I'm an athlete. I understand it. I want to get them going back to their sport.
Got you. Okay.
And again, bring us back to that is the difference between having a PT or a chiro that actually lifts or competes in something versus if you go to a PT and I was squatting, but something went in my back. It's well, don't squat anymore. It's no. That's not an option. Give me something else.
Yeah, you're going
to
get
me back to squat.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't that be a thing? So I always find that interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, you could relate that to someone going to the doctor because they have a cold, and then that doctor's like, Oh, you got a cold? Yo, no, don't ever go outside again. It's like, no, like I'm gonna go outside again. I'm gonna squat again. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So what are some of the most common things you're seeing with athletes, if anything at all?
Shoulder impingement is a big one. That's probably the number one thing I've
Really?
seen so far. Lots of disc patients, so acute disc injuries.
Like,
they'll come in with really severe back pain. They'll have the
cervical, neck,
more lumbar.
lower body, more lumbar.
Yeah, lumbar disc.
Heard that.
Lumbar disc and shoulder impingement. Those are the main ones.
Those are the two big ones.
Yeah, some people actually with like neck strains.
Oh,
like you.
It's just today. Doing some heavy ass push presses. Sorry.
Yeah. Like
What do you do like when you hurt yourself when you lift? You just stop and you're just like, wait, I know this technique, and you're just like,
I went right in the room. I threw the stim unit on. I was like, I gotta do some passive range of motion.
there you go. Do you just like ever bust that out in the middle of like the gym or anything like that?
Sometimes, yeah. Me and
Just
Drew
bust it
do
out.
all sorts of stuff on each other.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
That'll be
this fast.
that'll be during our break. So, what would you say is the cause of these? You mentioned the shoulder impingement, disc issues. Why?
I mean, that depends on every individual case, but a lot of people can't control their scaps. And if you can't control your scapula, I mean, your humerus is only going to raise so far and then start to impinge. You need that scapula to upwardly rotate, so now that humerus can raise again. That's one reason. Some people are just really, really internally rotated, which is automatically going to compress it a little bit more. Some people are just so tight. I mean, that even just loosening them up helps a lot, relieves that tension. Teaching them good posture positions.
Yeah,
It's really, really effective. So it kind of depends on the person, but usually one or a combination of those usually helps.
What impingement? Just kind of like for the audience or anyone who doesn't really know exactly what you're talking about when you say impingement, like me. What does that mean? Like, what is an impingement?
So an impingement syndrome could be a number of different things, but it's mostly the coracoacromial ligament going across, either compressing the bicipital tendon, which can cause biceps tendonitis, or just the humerus kind of compressing against that scap, impinging all the nerves and the muscles that go down.
So sort of like a pinch almost.
Yeah,
like
like
it's
a pinch.
squeezing down.
And they
So the
always feel
ligament
it
is
right
squeezing down on all that shit.
Yeah.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
And so how would that be caused though? Like why specifically? Like overhead movements,
Could be
horizontal
overhead movements. It's
pressing.
usually a lot
like,
of presses. And
so a lot of
overhead
presses will
movements
impinge that.
are gonna do it.
Okay.
Everybody doing the mirror muscles instead of those posterior chain muscles.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then what would you say about like low back? Like what do you think the most common thing is there? Why do you think everyone's fucking lower back discs are all blown out?
Improper stabilization strategies. I think people need to learn how to stabilize properly, learn the proper form and hip hinging. If they just bend from their back, I mean that's just throwing them right under the bus.
Okay.
Right.
So it's just a movement deficiency.
Just proper movement mechanics, proper bracing strategies.
Okay.
Definitely.
So define like your definition of like bracing strategy. Like what do you mean by that?
So I think a bracing strategy has to involve contraction of the abs with the TA, the transverse abdominis.
Okay.
Properly belly breathing in through that, kind of valsalving into it.
Right.
And then making sure you have that hip hinge. I'm demonstrating a squat right now. Hip hinge and down, blowing out on the way up.
Okay.
And
So
now
it even goes as deep as breathing.
Oh yeah. I think you have to breathe for a proper bracing strategy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think with all the stuff coming out, like all the PRI stuff, and you see Chris Duffin doing talks here and there, like breathing has just become such an integral part of.
Yeah, he's a stud.
We talked about the other day, like Brandon is my chiro now, by the way. So hey, I'm patient. But talking about the importance of properly breathing, and you're like, all right, let me like feel your diaphragm, and I was trying, and it just wasn't going anywhere.
He's
You're
an
like,
excellent
well,
chest breather, though.
Yeah, that's all I could do is breathe into my chest, nowhere else. Just puffing up all the time every time I see chicks walk by.
Yeah. So
dudes.
what's the deal with like the chest breathing versus like that deep diaphragm breathing? Like, give us your thoughts on that.
So I think that by belly breathing, you're really setting yourself up for a better intra-abdominal pressure. You know, you're increasing that intra-abdominal pressure naturally, kind of setting the stage for a proper brace. Whereas if your breath is all the way up here, you don't have that intra-abdominal pressure. Where's that stabilization going to come from?
True.
Your erectors, your other muscles are back there that aren't really designed to be postural muscles. You know, so they're going to be taking the brunt of the work.
Oh yeah, I see
Next
what you're
thing you
saying.
know,
Okay.
You have disc herniation.
Yeah, it sucks. It's so fucking painful.
Our very own Steve Cardi.
Yeah, it sucks. Are you do you work like with surgeons at all? Like, do people filter you or anyone like, hey, this person just got out of surgery? Or is there
Maybe in the future, but not right at this
Not right
moment.
now,
Yeah,
okay.
but that's probably the goal. I mean, to get involved with many other healthcare professionals.
Okay.
Come up with a team.
So would you say this? And sorry if this comes off as offensive. It's not meaning to be. just meaning in the sense of like I don't think like lowly of chiropractors or anything. Would you say that a chiropractor is like a fucking super magician of like mobility and like and recovery type stuff, like soft tissue? Would you say like a chiropractor is like a jack of all trades in that realm of your training, like the recovery, mobility, soft tissue world?
I think it totally depends on the chiro. I mean, there's some chiros who don't take that route. You know, they might be way more into nutrition and don't know anything about mobility.
Okay, so it's not like all chiropractors like, okay, we're all going to focus on like soft tissue, we're all going to do acupuncture, and we're all going to do dry needling and all that.
I mean, we'll all learn most of the same treatments. Like, I mean, we'll learn all the same soft tissue, all the same adjustments. But when it comes to like rehab, nutrition, everyone takes a different route with that.
Okay.
Interesting.
They teach you nutrition in chiro school? Like they go through
a ton of classes.
Really?
Okay.
See, that's another thing. No one ever mentions that. One person's ever like, yo, my chiro just gave me like all these supplements. Like they just think it's this one thing, but it's not.
No, that's a big part of what a chiro does. Looking at the nutrition, looking at their daily intake. What are you eating? You know, is it crap? What supplements do you take? From where? From Walgreens? What?
So then is there flexibility in the profession of chiropractic to be a little more holistic versus a little more traditional? Or is it just overall a pretty traditional practice or a pretty holistic practice?
Well, I think the traditional and the holistic are kind of the same thing. It's more of a
okay. I like that.
I don't know. It's more of a new school approach of chiros in general right now. Like it's no more that rack and crack, you're out now. It's more of let's look at the whole person. Let's incorporate more things, whether it be more nutrition, more rehab, more mobility, soft tissue work, or more of something else, more neurology tests. You know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Anything.
Dope.
But.
Word. Yeah. Anything else?
Take a quick break.
Yeah, take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, everybody. We'll be right back with Brandon and his fucking mad chiropractic skills. All right, so we'll take a break. Be right back. Want more of the Strength Students podcast? Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Stitcher. Stitcher, I just met her. All right, everybody.
It's for the sound. Why does he keep clapping?
I'm just so amped to be here.
I like it.
It's just for his sound issue, like the cutting of the audio.
Dude, I gotta like edit it, dude. I gotta do some Graston on the sound.
About to dry needle this bitch.
Welcome back, everybody. Second half here, talking to Dr. Brandon Buchla, chiropractor. So first half, we kind of went over Brandon, and now we want to go over like how you approach work with your clients. Like when you first get an athlete or when you first get someone in here, where do you start?
Absolutely. So I would start with having them fill out a new patient intake form, and that's pretty much just a really in-depth past medical history. I want to know every injury you ever had, every surgery, hospitalization. I want to be as thorough as possible. 90% of a proper diagnosis comes from the history, and you want to make sure you're not missing anything. You're missing something important.
Right.
I mean, you came in the other day.
Right.
And, I mean, he had pneumonia. I want to know about it. I want to know everything. Maybe there was a complication where they had to amputate his left calf. You know, you never know. And
that's what it feels like when you work on my calf. I mean, that's what it feels like. Might as well cut that thing off. No, but that's a thing. Like, I was like, well, I had pneumonia 6 years ago. Like, who really cares? But you, like, stopped and you're like, how long was it? What did you have to do for it? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, so in-depth about it.
Yeah, and it takes an extra 20 minutes, but that extra 20 minutes could make or break you. You know, it's worth the 20 minutes.
Yeah, you don't know what people got, or like, hey, 5 years ago I was 200 pounds heavier, like something, anything, you know?
People forget things unless it's right there and you're talking about it.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So I'll start with that, and then we'll go into a history, you know, like what's going on right now? Like, why are you here to see me? We'll go through the basics, sit core AAA, site, intensity, quality, just pretty much cover your case right now. And then after that, I'll do an exam. I take my exam serious, too. I'll do a full neurologic exam, make sure there's no signs, reflex changes, sensation changes, orthopedic tests, try to pinpoint exactly what it is that's going on. And then after that, I'll tell you a report of findings. Like, you know, this is what I think you have, and this is what I think I can do for you. If I don't think I can help you, then I'll tell you that.
Right.
If I do think I can help you, and I'll tell you that.
And I want to point out, nowhere in there did you adjust anyone yet.
Oh, yeah, no.
You are just learning about them, doing some basic tests.
Yeah.
So,
and then after that, I'll let them know. I was like, okay, like, we'll use Nick as an example.
Use me.
He has calf pain.
Yes.
So I'm not going to adjust his neck, because why would I adjust it?
Dude, they're connected.
So I told him, I said, you know, I think a lot of soft tissue is going to help this condition. So we cupped it. We did a lot of dry needling. We Grastoned his plantar fascia.
Felt like shit.
Plantar fasciosis.
Like I said, the needling wasn't bad, and then he got to the Graston and like the pin and stretch, and I'm like, because let's face it, like the foot and the calf is like you don't really think about it. Like you've been walking on your feet since you were, however old. Yeah. It's not something you're really thinking about. Like even when I was an athlete in high school, like I never thought about my feet. Like put on cleats and play. Like that was it, And now there's pain down there, and you actually, I'm not massaging my calves every night. So when you've been down there and you're like, yeah, I think this is, you nailed something on me, and I was like, oh boy, like I've been neglecting from the knee down pretty badly.
And then when we looked at because he had some hip pain too, so we looked at his pelvic stability, and it was just, there was none. There was no pelvic stability.
That's why I'm such a good salsa
It's a good definition of pelvic instability. So we went out and we did a plank, and basically I had him go in a wide plank and try to place a ball on his back, and he just could not. It would just hip rotate, hips going down. So we know that's a weakness for yours. Let's like loosen up a joint, and now let's try to stabilize it. Okay. So I did adjust his SIs, and then we try to make sure he can utilize that new range. I mean, once you access that new range, can you control it?
Right.
So you have to utilize. You have to adjust, then utilize. That's really it.
Okay. Yeah, so, and the adjustment was so like, and I've been going to chiro. I should speak. I want to speak on this too. That's why I really wanted to do this podcast with you. Is my father's been going to chiro since I was 4. I'm 29 years old now, so 25 years, right? So it was never strange to me that a chiro was so helpful. My dad had an issue where, believe it or not, he woke up. I think it was vertigo. Just woke up one day and went to a chiro for that. No meds, not like they helped him. His equilibrium was the loft, right? Something like that. And so I knew the value of it, and I've gone to chiros, and like you said to me as you were like just adjusting me, like, don't become a crack addict. That was my favorite line, because like some people are like, I just need a good crack and I'm good. And there's chiros that'll really try to get it to go, and it's like, and I've had chiros do that before. And you got out of there, you're like, yeah, it feels better, I guess, but fuck. But like, what just happened? You were just like, boom, speed, clicked, and then all right, now we're gonna go do exercises for that.
Yeah, you should never want to force that adjustment. It's more about just proper positioning and a quick little high velocity, low amplitude, HVLA, just a quick boom. That should be all it takes. You don't have to force that crack.
Right. What is it about like back cracking, neck cracking, that churn and pop? What is it about that makes people feel so good, I guess?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think it's just the sound that kind of provides that feedback, like
a placebo effect.
Yeah, that feels.
I've had clients say that they're like, "Oh, my shoulder just cracked. You hear that? It feels great now." I'm like, "Does it?"
Well, physiologically, like what's happening when you're like cracking or adjusting?
So it's a gas release. What's happening is gas is filling up in little pockets, and it's just like opening a can of Coke. It just you're just exposing it, and it's just popping open, so the gas just releases.
So a lot of tension created by gas, you mean? Mm-hmm. And what is this gas?
I think I don't know. I want to say it's nitrogen, but I could be
some
wrong.
sort of bodily gas.
It's a gas.
It's methane.
I think it's nitrogen.
It just it runs on vegetable oil.
Just like me. All right, that's interesting. But I would see now why that would be so satisfying physiologically. Like if your joints, if your back, if your shoulder, whatever is experiencing that gas buildup and that pressure, like it's going to be relieving for your joints.
Oh yeah, you're going to experience a new range of motion. Absolutely. Cool. But can you utilize the new range of motion?
So go into that a little more. Exactly. What exactly do you mean by that? Like
so you
owning a new range of motion and then utilizing it. What does that mean?
So let's say we adjusted someone in rotation, right? So now they can look maybe a little bit more than they could before. That's great, but now what if they go into a movement pattern and they're not really stable in that new range? They haven't utilized that new range in a while.
They can
injure themselves.
That range.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's when something like FRC would be very beneficial when you now try to go in and now you're controlling that range. You're doing some rehab exercises where you're using and you're controlling that range. Then that becomes a full program, a full rehabilitation program.
Okay. So is that similar then to if you're doing like pretty intense mobility too, like you want to then own that and utilize that?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Because what's the point of just mobilizing if you have no stability? That kind of goes with yoga. You see a lot of flexible people, but they don't own that range. They're not stable. They're just loosey-goosey. And then you see a lot of injuries.
Or yoga people that say, like, my back hurts. Like, why? It's all you do is basically mobility.
Yeah,
why does your back hurt?
There has to be that combination of the two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you say, and I know because we're all fitness guys, we're all trainers, all that stuff, right? But, like, would you say putting like, you don't have to be a power lifter, you don't have to be an Olympic, but would you say as a human being to stay healthy, you need to put an external load on your body in some sort of capacity?
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not like meathead talk. Is that science talk, or is that just like, you need to fucking lift, or like?
I mean, I can't whip off a study off the top of my head right now, but I'm going to say it. So it's me talk.
Okay.
But I truly believe that you need some type of external load to truly strengthen the body to prepare for the external loads that you're going to experience in your natural life. You're going to be carrying groceries. You're going to be doing all these other things that you're going to have to prepare, and you're going to have to move weight. You should train that way.
Right.
What about gymnasts then? Why are they so strong?
They lift weights too.
Is that where they get most of their strength, though?
No, but a lot of isometric ring work. I mean, they're doing awesome body movements.
Plus, a lot of them start so young. There's no like gymnasts that are like, I'm 25.
Yeah, like right out the gate.
Like they're like 3.
Yeah,
and they do it until they're 15. Like those developmental years, just you could do fucking anything, you know, and you're just that's gonna stick with you for life.
Yeah, and that's not to say it's gonna get you huge, but I think it's necessary to get you more functional.
I've seen gymnasts like guys I went to college with never been on a bench press in their life, and they weigh 150 and they bench 275, something insane. Oh, I never benched before. It's like, yeah, but you could do an iron cross. Like the amount of tension that creates, you know? And that's one thing as we're learning with we'll keep using me as an example. I never did any of that. I was always the big guy. I was a lineman. I just wanted to lift. And now we're finding out, hey, you can't even hold a 3-pound ball on your back in a plank, you know? Right. That's a huge deal.
So give some more examples. You talked about the plank with the ball on the back, but give some more examples of that practice of, all right, I'm going to take in the back, I'm going to adjust you, I'm going to give you this new range of motion, and then we're going to get to work and start owning that range of motion.
So let's talk more about pelvic instability. I have a few patients who can't activate their glutes. Well, I like glute inactivation. I do think that's a thing. I think that a lot of the times the hip flexors can get really, really tight. You try a test to do a leg raise and see if their glutes are firing, and it's pure hamstring. There's literally no glute firing.
Damn. So you would you'd have someone do it, but if you felt their butt, it would just be all you wouldn't feel anything.
It's pure hamstring just doing the leg extension.
Word. That's with most people, you said?
No, that's with a few of my patients.
With some people who don't have that like glute activation.
Yeah, they just can't fire it.
That's fucking weird.
And that's the firing. I don't know if you're familiar with like Cal Dietz's stuff.
Yeah, so ipsilateral hamstring, contralateral erector.
Exactly. Like so, explain that for people. Like when you go to look on someone, I forget the order it's supposed to go in, but it's supposed to be like glute, hamstring, QL, right, or something like that. He palpates it.
So you're gonna have 4 fingers on, and basically you're looking at. So one hand's going to be on one glute and that same side hamstring.
Okay.
And then the other hand's going to be on the 2 erectors. Right?
Okay.
You're going to ask them to do a leg raise on that leg where your hand is. You're hoping to find the glute activates first, then the hamstring, then I want to say it's the contralateral erector, then the ipsilateral erector.
Okay.
And usually what you find is a problem right in the beginning. You're going to find that hamstring activates possibly no glute activation at all, and then the erectors are just all off.
Damn.
So you want to work right from there and say, okay, well, let's work on these glutes, you know? And what's a great exercise for that? The glute bridge. Let's start with some glute bridges. Let's do that. So what I like to do is a lot of these people have like hip pain too. So I'll release both hips, and now I just want to stabilize them. So they're loose now. Now let's get them in a proper movement pattern, engage their muscles like they should be, and then kind of just train that pattern.
Rather than just like getting you loose and, all right, now you're loose, so you're good now. You're not tight anymore, so you're good.
Got that hip to pop, great. You're out.
Interesting.
Right, because they're going to go home and do what?
Yeah.
Sit in the car.
Same thing. They're going to go do some leg extensions.
They got to go to work. Right. Like they're not going to. Right.
Yeah. So it's important to find like a faulty movement pattern, because that's usually what you'll find with every patient. You know, there's a pain, there's going to be a new movement pattern now.
Word. So what else makes you different as far as your practice? I know there's a lot of things we've talked about are like we were talking about off camera, like very new ideas. So what else kind of makes you different as far as being a chiropractor?
Well, aside from like the rehabilitation thing, I think we touched on it, but I think that practicing what I preach is kind of a different thing. And it might not make me what's really, really different, but it's a shame when you see docs who are 400 pounds, just disgusting,
right,
and they're giving you medical advice. I mean, that's terrible.
Right.
So I think it's important to kind of see someone who's been there, who's still doing it. You know, I still lift all the time. I love it, and I want to play sports forever.
Right.
And I mean, I do have some outside certifications also, like acupuncture and dry needling.
Yeah,
I'm really into that alternative route. I mean, I'm a Reiki practitioner. It's a
Hell
form of
yeah,
dude, you do Reiki?
Yeah.
What's the deal with that? I mean, I don't want to get on a tangent here, but I've always heard it, and I'm interested in it. Like, what?
It's fun.
What's it like? Like, you're literally just hovering.
What do you do?
Well, I'll have to show you.
Yeah, show me that shit.
Yeah,
I want to see
it's
that.
good stuff. So I'm just into like new things, and I mean, not that acupuncture is new; it's been around longer than our modern medicine. So.
Right.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, you're into the new things like acupuncture. It's like, yeah, dude, it's been around since before humans
started.
were alive.
Yeah. There's actually video footage of an open heart surgery with acupuncture being the only anesthesia.
So interesting, man. Like, it's insane how like far ahead the West is as far as like holistic practice in medicine. And all of a sudden we start like, oh my God, cupping. This new thing is amazing. And then everyone on the west of the western part of the world is like, fuck you guys talking about, man? We've been doing that for hundreds of years. Yeah. Where the fuck have you guys been?
They're like, yeah, but ours are glass. They're like, ours are too.
You guys have been Eastern world, you guys have been slamming down fucking medications your whole life.
And McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Cupping, so new and innovative. So yeah, anything else you want to add, Brendan? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, is there anything you would like to leave our audience with on chiros? Like if they're like on the fence right now, or if they're like, well, I have a PT and my PT said blah, 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 blah. Like just,
Oh, that's great. I mean, if you have a practitioner that you really enjoy and you're getting the most out of it, stick with them. I mean,
exactly.
That's what it's for. But if you've never experienced chiropractic and you've always been interested, I say give it a shot, because it's definitely not, and especially if you have a negative stigma about it.
Right.
It's not like that anymore. It's definitely a lot different.
Yeah, come down, plug your spot, plug this up.
Yeah, where are you at? Where can people find you?
We're at 1 North Water Street in Sono, right across from the Maritime Aquarium.
South Norwalk, Connecticut.
So no.
Steve had trouble getting in, but everyone else figures it out.
Yeah, dude, it's like you need a fucking invisible map to get in there, like fucking Harry Potter.
It was pretty epic.
And so, what's it called? What is your place called?
It's called ATP Plus.
ATP, nice. So, where did you guys get that name?
Oh, we were thinking of a name for forever. It took us like a full year and a half to come up with ATP.
Oh, no
shit.
shit.
Just kind of stuck. Yeah. We always wanted like an A in it, team, performance, and chiropractic. Yeah. So ATP
and then it's like
plus.
ATP, energy.
Oh, yeah.
That's what,
the energy of your body. I like it.
Yeah.
Word. Social media, did you say that already? Or?
Oh, yeah. Social media, we are atp.chiro on Instagram and Facebook.
Fuck yeah.
You got a personal Instagram?
Buchla.
Spell that out for people.
BUCHLA.
Got it.
Nice.
You can see these guys working out with their shirts off.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
We do it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Brandon. That was very eye-opening.
Me.
Like, it answered a lot of questions for me about like chiropractic and what you do, and even some ideas about what to do about like owning new ranges of motions and things like that. So definitely a dope episode. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we're gonna literally have you on again tonight. So.
You and Drew.
So yeah,
next 3 weeks is gonna be you guys. So.
All right, guys, make sure 5-star review on iTunes and on Stitcher, and make sure you go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel, and then go follow us, Strength Students Podcast, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Peace,
yo.